Hello everybody, my name is Tobisatsu and welcome on in. Today we're going to be going over the pickups I had for physical media in the month of February. It started off a pretty strong month, but honestly near the end of it kind of tapered off. This is a good chunk to show off, so I'm going to split everything based on where I bought it and we'll go from there. Starting off, let's get with some thrifty movies. So things I found at Goodwill, Thrifty Shop, or just general thrift or pawn shops. The first thing I found was Monster Hunter. And this is one of the few films that I actually watched back in 2020 while the pandemic was going on, at least in terms of like theater watches. And I remember enjoying this quite a bit. I didn't think it was anything necessarily fantastic, but compared to what I expected, I actually really enjoyed it. This does come with a digital code. I'm not sure if it works, but if you want to take it, there you go. Pretty simple movie, just good like turn off your brain fun. It was $2. Everything that I've gotten at the thrift store has been $2, so it's not like I'm spending a lot of money on this. And I thought it'd be good to go back and give this a watch at some point. So that's Monster Hunter. Next up, I got the Harold and Kumar triple feature, which features Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay, and a very Harold and Kumar Christmas. This unfortunately kind of has some shitty packaging. So it has literally all the discs stacked on one ring. But again, this is $2. I've only seen the first movie, but I actually quite enjoyed it when I watched it. It seems to be a pretty stoner type of trilogy. My friend's big on, especially the second one, so at some point I'd like to watch that with him. For $2, you can't really go wrong. I don't know how long I'm going to have this in the collection for, but again, not too bad. Next up is a film my girlfriend wanted to watch, and that is Over the Hedge. Now, this is actually pretty cool because this was sealed when I purchased it. It seems like that's fairly common where I'm at when it comes to kid movies, to be honest. This is a fun rewatch to go back and watch as an adult. There's a lot of humor here that's actually really interesting, compared to like when you're a kid, you don't really get a lot of it. But something that's really cool with this being obviously sealed is you get a lot of the inserts. So this specifically came in with some flushed away stickers, as well as I think this especially is cool. This Chuck E. Cheese, as you can see, coupons for large pizza drink, tokens, and then tokens. So it's actually pretty cool to kind of have that included. I always like having the inserts included with movies when I buy them, just because it's a little piece of history that you don't get obviously with digital movies. And this especially, I went through the special features with my girlfriend. We had a little date night and watched it. It's actually insane how many special features they used to have on these like DVDs compared to like a lot of the releases they have now. It doesn't even compare. But that was a really fun watch. Happy I picked that up. So that's everything in relation to thrifting. Next up, let's get into some Walmart purchases. So for Walmart, I didn't get a ton. I got two. The first being Wicked on 4K. This is a gorgeous 4K, I gotta be honest. I'm still not huge on this movie. I don't hate it, but I don't know, it's not my cup of tea. But really solid, fun rewatch, especially at home compared to a theater. This was, I think, $30. It's not too bad. And I watched this on Valentine's Day with my girlfriend Mia. It was nice, and I'm happy I picked it up. Not too upset. This one in specific I was happy about, though, and that is the They Live Steelbook. This was $25, and this includes both the 4K and the Blu-ray. And quite a bit of special features. Have not had a chance to actually pop this one in yet, but I really do like this film, so I'm excited to actually go back and watch it. The art's fantastic, and for $25, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Next up, we have the Amazon pickups, which got quite a few. The first one comes from the 3 for 33 that was started in January, and I believe it was The Shining. Yeah, The Shining and the Suicide Squad. And the third film that didn't come, it was delayed, is American Psycho. And this is the uncut version. Again, I haven't had a chance to actually watch this version of the film, but I am a really big fan of this movie. I have a itch to go back to this every so often, so very excited to actually check this out, especially on 4K. It's pretty simple. And I actually am really happy the slipcover came in pretty good condition. Something I've learned with Amazon as of recent is I do not have the best luck with slipcovers this year. So happy that it's actually, you know, in my hands, not too whitened, pretty good condition. Next up is a film that I needed to get to complete my Robert Eggers collection, and that is The Witch. So when I initially got this was the last piece I needed. Now Nosferatu's out, so at some point I'm going to have to pick that up. But this is the only Robert Eggers film I have yet to check out. I know Anya Taylor-Joy's in it, and I'm a big fan of hers, so I'm very intrigued to check this out. A lot of people have this as their favorite Robert Eggers film, so very excited to see it. I know that I'm going to enjoy it either way. I don't think I'm really going to hate it, but I'm going to be curious to see where this stacks up with the rest of his filmography, because him and Del Toro right now are some of my favorite directors working. So very, very happy to finally have that. Another film I'm ecstatic to now own is Little Shop of Horrors, which includes the director's ending. Absolutely love this film. Now, I've mentioned on the channel, I'm not a huge fan of musicals. This is an example of a musical I adore. And this includes both the original ending as well as the director's cut ending, which is... It takes a different turn where he becomes like a giant monster and begins spreading around the world. Audrey too. And it's kind of sad that cut's been so lost to time just because the amount of budget I imagine they sunk into it. I mean, it's insane. Honestly, between the two, I don't really have a favorite. I think I'd lean towards the director's cut just because it's so bombastic and like it's just awesome seeing Audrey 2 take over a city. But I'm going to be very happy to rewatch this at some point. I watched it about a year ago, so I'm not sure how soon I'll get back to this, but really, really, really good film. Along with that, the last thing for Amazon was The Big Lebowski. Something that also relates to like the Little Shop of Horrors as well, is I'm trying to make an effort to actually go back and buy movies that I really, really like and want to rewatch as the sun comes in. So I'm sorry if the lighting's a bit funky here. And The Big Lebowski is one of those movies. It's such a feel-good film. It's so funny. It's one of my favorite John Goodman performances, and Steve Buscemi's fantastic. I always go back to this every so often. Usually, honestly, funny enough, around Christmas time. I checked it out for the first time around that like time frame a few years ago and just loved it. And, have checked it out a few times since. I highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. I'm very happy to have this. It's a piece that I've been missing for quite a bit. Finally here, we have some imports that I got out of Amazon Japan. So, quite a few kind of interesting pieces. We'll start off with one that's, I think, a little more digestible. That being the King Kong vs. Godzilla 4K release from Toho. So this came in a nice little baggie that I'm just going to keep. But it comes with quite a bit of stuff, so let me pop this open and we'll do a brief overview. So obviously it's covered in this J card, which you can just remove. When you do that, you get two pieces of art. So obviously on the back you have King Kong. And then on the front you have the big G himself, Godzilla. Very cool. And then what's included is, of course, the 4K edition of King Kong vs. Godzilla. I have not had a chance to pop this one in yet, but if it's anything like the Invasion of Astro Monster release, I'm going to be very happy to own this. That transfer is incredible for Invasion of Astro Monster. The detail it catches is astounding, so I'm hoping it's the same for this. I've heard good things, so. What's nice with these Japanese releases, you get these really cool like brochures, some releases. You have some disc art of Godzilla and Mr. Kong. It's pretty nice there. And I do like the cover art a lot on this too. With this, we also get a few extras. So we get a pretty chunky art book, I guess, or like a set book. So it kind of gives you the rundown of everything. So you get quite a few pictures of the production here. Like there's Godzilla. Here's the natives. Kind of just jump to some different pages. It's Godzilla walking along the train. Godzilla and Kong fighting. Some more Godzilla. I like this. These are some of my favorite shots in these Showa films, is when you get that wide scale like shot of all the buildings and the wires, and you got Godzilla in the back kind of roaming. Same with this like Kong shot here. Some more Kong. There he is taking on the train. Some more Godzilla headshots. But yeah, pretty cool. And then you also get, and I may be misremembering, and I'll correct it in the video if I'm wrong. This is the, I believe, movie manga. So this essentially was given out if you went to see the movie. It's backwards, right? Yes. Okay, sorry, it's a manga. Jeez Louise. But it is a retelling of the film as obviously a manga. So it's really cool. I like when they include these pieces with physical media releases. It seems more like a foreign thing nowadays than it is like a, what would you call it? Like a local thing, unless you're getting from a premium thing like Vinegar Syndrome or something along those lines. But this was $60. Honestly, I don't think that's too bad for what you're getting. You're getting quite a bit of extra stuff, and if it is to be believed that this is a good solid transfer, then you're also getting a very good transfer of King Kong versus Godzilla. So quite happy to add that to the collection. And then finally, as I'm putting this away, this is kind of a funky thing that I picked up. I'll just put this away later. It's a show that I've wanted to watch for a while, and there's a bit of a story to it. Obviously, I've mentioned before that this year I've been taking some time to rewatch and watch new Ultraman shows, so I've gotten through so far Ginga, and I'm about halfway through Max. One of the shows that's always intrigued me is Zone Fighter, mainly for the fact that it's a Ultra show that includes Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Gigan, all that. And that's not to say it's made by Tsuburaya, but obviously it's a very Ultraman-inspired show. There have not been any local releases here in the US, but in Japan, there have been quite a few. And for very cheap, these were 2,000 yen each, which was like, I don't know, I think $15 for each of these releases. I picked up Zone Fighter, Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3, which I love the art on that one. Volume 4. And Volume 5. Not a preface. Whenever I pick up these import releases, I always like to make it apparent that these do not come with English audio or subtitles, probably 99% of the time. And it's no different for Zone Fighter. And something with Zone Fighter is there isn't actually any, what would you call that, officially released subtitles for the show. So if I wanted to watch this, which I have a way to do this now, and I'll kind of explain how I do it with a lot of these films. If I wanted to watch this movie, I would need to find subtitles. Obviously for Zone Fighter, because it's all fan subbed, it's kind of a tough draw to actually do that. So there is a fan sub that was released and then lost to time, but there is a way to actually do that. And if you want to buy these sets and do what I do, which is rip the discs and then put the files on Plex, which you can then add subtitle files to the actual like MKVs when you're ripping them, which allows you to then obviously watch them subtitled. You can ask me a comment and I'd be more than happy to kind of share. I just don't want to openly share it, obviously, because it's kind of a funky way to do it. But I was able to get that to work. These look fairly good for DVDs. Obviously, because I'm watching them off Plex, they're not of the highest quality, like watching it off the disc, but it's as close as you're going to get to it. So I'm very excited to check this out at some point, and it's a pretty fun piece of tokusatsu history to now own. All right, so I'm going to get these added to my shelf, and then we'll get this wrapped up from here. That wraps up this month's physical media haul. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. And if you have any questions on the products that I picked up, be sure to leave a comment. If you guys got anything cool in too, be sure to let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys got. And if you really enjoy, be sure to subscribe. There's plenty more things coming. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Tobisatsu, and I hope that you have a great day.